Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video I am going to try few problems from mock test second. This question will be from part B. So without further ado, let's get started. Question number 16 from part B. What it says, so we have a given function f of x which is defined by this way: sin x upon x whenever x is non-zero, and if it is 0, function takes value 1. Means what? Fx is bivalued function. If you look at the option carefully, you will see that they are asking about continuity and differentiability of this function f of x. Now if you look at carefully this function, there is no problem for continuity and differentiability if my x take non-zero values. Problem arises when my x take value 0, okay, because at 0 function will differ. So first let's look at the continuity of this function. So how to check continuity? Recall how to check continuity of function. Suppose I have to check continuity at some point x equals to a. How do we check? Limit of f of x as x tends to a. If it is equals to functional value at a, if both are equal, then we say function fx is continuous at a, okay. And I want to check continuity and differentiability at 0. Now see why I'm saying only at 0, because at non-zero values there is no problem, okay. We are keen to discuss only at 0. So now let's look at continuity. If I approach x tends to 0 of f of x, now see what I mean by x tends to 0. Whenever I say x tends to 0 means what? Values of x approaching towards 0, but it will never attain 0 value, okay. So this is the idea of x tends to 0. In this case, limit x tends to 0 means what? Values of x approaching towards 0, but it will never attain 0. What is the value of function f of x is this, okay. So limit x tends to 0. Now what is my function? Sin x upon x whenever x is not 0, and this is well known identity. What is the answer? 1. And what is 1? Is nothing but f of 0 means what? Function is continuous at 0, and they are saying in first option it is discontinuous, so first option will discard, okay, because we are getting continuous at. Now see, function is continuous at 0 and every other value is already continuous, okay. So up till now we have discarded first option. Let's look at other option. In second option they are saying continuous but not differentiable. Now we will discuss about differentiability of this function. So what will be the derivative of this function? If you look at carefully, so derivative at x equal to 0 will be obviously 0, because derivative of 1 is 0. And what is the derivative of sin of x? Sin x divided by sin x. So if I apply u by v rule, it will be x cos x minus sin x, and derivative of x is 1 divided by x square, okay. So this is the derivative at whenever my x take non-zero values. Now we just have to check whether the value of this function as x approaches towards 0 is 0 or not. If I able to prove this, then we are done. X tends to 0, f dash x. Now we will check limit at 0, x tends to 0, x cos x minus sin x divided by x square. Now see, if we approach x towards 0, then we will get 0 by 0, which is nothing but indefinite form. So what we'll do in this case, we will apply L'Hospital rule. What it says, if my answer is 0 by 0, then we have to approach L'Hospital rule. And what it says, we have to take derivative of numerator as well as derivative of denominator. So what is the derivative of numerator? X minus sin x plus cos x into 1 minus derivative of sin is cos x divided by derivative of x square is nothing but 2x. This cos x will get cancelled. This x and this x will cancel, and if I approach towards 0, sin x at 0 will be 0. So answer is 0, which is nothing but our f dash at 0. So derivative is also continuous as well at 0. Similarly, if you solve double dash f double dash at x, you will get some function. So let's say px by qx, okay, some fraction, and you will have 0 here. So in this case also f double dash at 0 will exist and it will equals to 0, okay. So double derivative is also exist, and what they are saying in D option, differentiable more than once. So option D is correct. Now see why we are only prove at 0, not at other values, because problem arises only at x equal to 0, otherwise it's fine, okay. This is differentiable, this is in fact this is infinitely differentiable at non-zero values, okay. So problem is only at 0, that's why we are talking only about x continuity and differentiability at 0, okay. So option D is correct. Let's move ahead. In question number 17, what they are saying, they are given some function g of x which is equals to, okay, starting from 1 to 100, x into this greatest integer function k by x, and they are asking what they are asking. They are asking right hand limit of x tends to 0 plus g of x. Okay, that's what they are asking. Now see, if I apply limit on the what is gx, gx is this limit will go inside the sum, and I will have okay. So let's try to solve this sum. Limit x tends to k by x. What will be the sum? Let's try to evaluate the sum first. Let me recall definition of greatest integer function. What is the greatest integer function? It is the least integer less than or equals to x. Okay. So in our question, they are given k by x. Okay. So k by x will be less than equals to k by x and greater than k by x minus 1. Now see, we have x in multiplication with this greatest integer function. So if I multiply throughout by x, I will get x and x, this will cancel. I will left with x, k, and this is x into this k by x, and x and x will cancel in this case. And if I approach limit x tends to 0 throughout, I will get limit x tends to 0 plus k minus x, limit x tends to 0 plus x k by x, and limit of constant function. Okay, so what will be the limit of left hand side? K minus 0 will be k, and middle function, this is what we want, limit of this k by x, and limit of constant function will be always constant. And by sandwich theorem, what it says, if my limit of the covering is same, then the limit of middle function will be k itself. Okay, so by sandwich theorem, limit will be what? K. Okay, so k starting from 1 to 100. And what is the limit? We have just evaluated. Limit is nothing but k. Okay, so k is starting from 1. If I suppose k equals to 2, 2, 3, and last limit will be 100. And what is the sum? N plus 1 by 2, and value of n in this case is 100. So 100, 101 divided by 2. So this is 50. 50 into 100 will be 5 ones are 5, 5 zeros are 0, 5 ones are 5, and this 0. So answer will be 5050. If I look at the options, option C is correct. Okay, let's move ahead. In question number 18, what they are saying, they are given one series Bn, and this series is converges to some P. And what is my Bn in this case? Tan inverse of 2 by n square. This is very interesting question. Before we start solving this question, let me recall one identity. Recall this identity. Tan inverse of A minus tan inverse of B. What is the formula? Yes, I'm asking to you. Tan inverse of A minus B, 1 minus A into B. So 1 plus A into B. So this is the formula. So let's look at this. Tan inverse of 1 upon n minus 1 minus tan inverse of 1 upon n plus 1. In this case, our A is 1 by n minus 1 and B is 1 by n plus 1. Let's try to solve this. What we get? Tan inverse of, this is A and this is B. What will be the formula? A minus B divided by 1 plus A into B. If I solve further, I will get, you just cross multiply this, n plus 1 and n minus 1. N will cancel, and I will left with 2 by n minus 1 into n plus 1 means what? N square minus 1. Similarly, if I solve denominator, if I cross multiply, I will get n minus 1, n plus 1 means what? N square minus 1 plus 1 divided by this n square minus 1. Again, minus plus get cancelled. So I will left with tan inverse of this n square minus 1, n square minus 1 will cancel. So 2 by, and this is n square, and this is nothing but our Bn. Okay. Now let's look at carefully at the how we have structured the Bn. Now see, Bn is structured in this way. Bn is structured an minus 1 minus an plus 1, where what is our an? N is nothing but tan inverse of 1 by n. Now you will get idea how we have structured Bn. Okay, Bn is an minus 1, and we want what? We want sum of this Bn. Okay, we are interested in sum of Bn. Now let's try to first evaluate partial sum of this series. What is the partial sum of this series? Sn is what? Sn is a1, a2, a3, so on up to an, and in this case our this series is Bn. So let me write this, and last term will be Bn. Okay, so what will be my B1? B1 will be what? B1 is a0. Okay, B1 will be a0 minus a2, a0 minus a2. What will be my B2? Second term will be, if I substitute n equals to 2, I will get 2 minus 1, 1, a1 minus, this is a3. What will be third term? a2 minus a4. Okay, and this will keep going. And what will be my nth term? Nth term of the sequence, sorry, Bn term will be an minus 1 minus an plus 1. Let's try to evaluate one more term of this partial sum. It will be Sn minus 2 minus an. Okay, this is how this sum will. Now if we look at this pattern we are getting in this partial sum, then you will observe that this minus a2, this plus a2 will get cancelled. Similarly, this a3 will get cancelled with next a3 term here, and what more cancel? This a4 will also get cancelled. Similarly, this an minus 1 will cancel with the n minus term in this previous term. N minus 2 will also get cancelled, and this an will also get cancelled with the previous term. Then we will left with a0, this plus a1, and this last term we will left with an plus 1. Okay, so this is Sn we are getting. Now see what is our an. If you look at an carefully, this is nothing but our sequence, and if I try to find out limit of this an as n tends to infinity, so I will get limit n tends to infinity tan inverse of 1 by n. What will be the limit? This is 1 upon infinity, means what? 0. Tan inverse of 0 is nothing but 0. So limit of an will be 0 as n tending to infinity. Okay, if I approach n tends to infinity of this partial sum Sn, I will get a0 plus a1. Okay, because n plus 1 will tends to 0. Okay, but now see what is our a0 and a1. If I look at carefully how I structured our an, our a0 will be tan inverse of 1 by 0. Okay, plus what will be our an? Tan inverse of 1 by 1. Okay, now tan inverse of 1 by 0 means what? Infinity, plus tan inverse of 1 will be 1. And what is our tan inverse of infinity? Nothing but pi by 2, and tan inverse of 1 will be pi by 4. Okay, and if I try to add this, for that I have to make the denominator common, which is simply just multiply by 2. So what will I get? 2 pi by 4 plus pi by 4 means what? 3 pi by 4. Okay, so if I look at the options, you will see that option in question number 19, what they are saying, they are given two sets V, how they are structured V. So they are collecting all n cross n matrices, okay, such that A is skew symmetric. Okay, and they are saying W, which is element we are collecting from this set, such that trace of A is equal to 0 and summation of all entries of that matrix is 0. Okay, so whenever this kind of question asked in exam, we just have to look at the restriction imposed on the set. Okay, so first try to evaluate. If you look at carefully, W is nothing but subset of V. Okay, first try to determine the dimension of V. What will be the dimension of V? this set of all skew symmetric matrix. What is skew symmetric matrix? Matrix is said to be skew symmetric if A transpose is always equals to minus A. And what are the diagonal elements? Let me recall one fact of diagonal element of skew symmetric matrix is always 0. Okay, this is very important. If I look at the dimension of V, what will be the dimension of V? Skew symmetric n minus 1 divided by 2. Okay, now let's look at the dimension of W. What is the dimension of W? We are collecting all elements, all matrices for this set V, okay, such that trace of A is 0 and summation of all entries of matrix 0. Means what? First, what is the dimension of V? V is nothing but n minus 1 divided by 2 minus number of restriction. How many restrictions are there? How many restrictions are there? So there are 2 restrictions, but if you look at carefully, trace is equal to 0. So see, whenever we talk about skew symmetric matrix, trace is 0 is already included in V. Okay, so this is not a restriction, because for skew symmetric matrix, sum of diagonal entries is 0 means what? Trace is always 0. Okay, number of restriction looks 2, but it actually 1, because trace is already included here. Okay, so number of restriction is not 2, it is equals to 1. Okay, so this is the dimension. So answer is B. Let's look at question number 20. What they are saying in 20? So they are define one group G, which is equals to GL phi over Z2. What is this G? Set of all matrices of order 5 cross 5 whose entries are from Z2. Okay, and what they are asking, they are defined new set N1M and N0M. So what is N1M and N0M? N1M denotes number of ones. Okay, this is number of ones in the matrix, and this is the number of zeros in the matrix. And they are asking, what will be, this is interesting set, what will the minimum of this set N1M minus N0M. Okay, and this minimum we are taking over all the matrices over G. Okay, now see, what will be the order of this dimension of this G? So our matrix is 5 cross 5, means there will be 25 elements. Okay, so 25 elements means what? The number of 0 and number of 1 will never be same, they has to be different. Means what? If my number of zeros and number of ones will always be greater than or equals to 1. Okay, because why? Because order is odd, so number of element is odd means what? N0 and N1 can never be same. Okay, so if I able to find one example whose number of 0 minus number of ones is equals to 1, then we are done. Because what is the least value of this set, minimum of this set will be which is equals to 1, and if I able to find one example for which it is 1, then we are done. Okay, so our work is to find only matrix for which this set takes value 1. Okay, so can we produce such matrix? Let's try to produce one. Let's try to 4 and 5. Okay, let's take this. Let's fill everywhere 1.